Tracy Wolfson's down on the sideline before we kick it off. Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. It is no freezer bowl, but weather could be a factor today. Fortunately, it looks like the snow will hold off till after the game, but they do expect rain, and I just started to feel a few drops. They said no problem with the field, though. This is field turf. It's heated underneath. It has been no problem all season long. As for San Diego playing in the cold weather, they said they're not worried about it. They played at Kansas City, at Denver in the mid-30s, and they won both of those games. Cincinnati saying this is just Bengal weather. That's part of our toughness, guys.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Yes, the last two road games, San Diego with impressive wins at Arrowhead and at Mile High. And you saw Danny Woodhead back to receive the kick. Cincinnati has deferred to the second half to receive the football after winning the toss, and Mike Nugent will re-tee it one more time as the AFC North champions will be kicking to the last team in the AFC playoffs, the 9-7 Chargers, who won their last four. Their last loss came against Cincinnati out in San Diego, December the 1st. Coach Mike McCoy telling us last night his return game. We haven't really had any big returns this year, but he thinks they might be close. But they won't get a chance off the opening kick, as it's a touchback, and out comes Phillip Rivers. Really, in many ways, under the radar nationally. Just had a big-time year with the 32 touchdowns, only 11 picks, and his leadership is off the charts. Hartwig starts at center. Watch this line today. It has been shuffled. He's the only starter from that matchup, Week 13, that's in the same position going against the Bengals as he was in that game. And Ryan Matthews has run so hard over the last month, a big reason why San Diego won its last four. 5 defensive backs at the start here for the Bengals as San Diego gets a nice explosive 7 or 8 yards out of Matthews on the first handle of the game. And this defense handled San Diego in that matchup, leaving them with their lowest output of the year, only 10 points, and forced 3 takeaways. There's Kirkpatrick starting for Newman, who is out with a knee. Kirkpatrick had a pick 6 in the win last week against the Ravens. 2nd and 3 as Rivers goes to the gun. Pocket is sealed, and he goes to Woodhead, who has the first down across the 30.
Well, Jim Nance, you talked about this offensive line. I think it's a huge deal. And what you want to do to a quarterback, what's up inside has room to step up. That lets him see down the field. They got the matchup outside. You look at Danny Woodhead. Where does he go? How do you match up with him on the defensive side? But the offensive line, good start for them.
76 catches on the year by Woodhead, second most by a back in the league. He comes out. Matthews is the tailback on first down. And he gets the carry. And he has contact at the line and falls forward for 2 yards. Well, Rivers telling us last night in the meetings, this team is loose. We've been playing football, playoff football, for the last month, and our lack of playoff experience, actually, he believes, works to their favor.
Yeah, he doesn't think it's going to hurt him. And, you know, you talk about this game. Phillip Rivers, a huge key, of course. The Bengals defense, the blitzing gets every football team, but it did not get San Diego 5 weeks ago. I think the Bengal coaches think this could be a big problem when they need to blitz. They wonder if they can get to the quarterback.
2nd and 8, and the delay give Woodhead. And he's got another 3 yards. It'll set up 3rd and 5. The last time the Chargers were in the postseason, 09, well, only 6 players active today. Floyd and English both out with injury the rest of the year. 6 players from the last Charger postseason team are in uniform today. This Bengals defense has not allowed the opposition an opening drive touchdown here at the Jungle in 2 years. And now they're trying to take San Diego off the field after they've picked up 1 first down. 3rd and 5. And there's the blitz. But Rivers never had a chance. Chris Crocker got to him first.
Different look. They only had 3 defensive linemen. Here comes Chris Crocker to the outside. What they couldn't do in San Diego, they found a way to do right off the bat today. New look, gets right to Rivers untouched.
Then a loss of 6 brings out Cypress. One of the remaining 6 from the last postseason. And it's got tremendous hang time to the 20, where Tate takes it. And he is brought down. 3-yard loss on the return. It's Stuckey with the tackle after a 50-yard boost. And now we'll see Dalton and the Bengals with their first possession in the playoffs coming up. We're back in Cincinnati, and Andy Dalton definitely under the microscope as he takes his team to the postseason for the 3rd consecutive year. First time in Bengals history in the playoffs for 3 straight years. Andy's 3 for 3. And the first down carry goes to Green Ellis. And it's a good one for 8. Running behind Anthony Collins. And there is that offensive line. There was some question about Kyle Cook's foot injury suffered last week against the Ravens, but he's in the starting lineup. He's a key part of this. A.J. Green sets the NFL record. Most catches by any player in the history of the league through his first 3 years, breaking the mark that belonged to Anquan Bolden. 2nd and 2, and Green Ellis has a first down out to the 35.
Jim, this is what they did out in San Diego. They ran the football right up the middle. Andrew Whitworth, number 77, didn't follow him that time, but he's the big puller on the offensive line. When he pulls, of course, the running back usually follows. But the San Diego Chargers said, look, we can fix that. Our interior defensive linemen can play stronger, be tougher. Well, those first couple runs, advantage goes to Cincinnati Bengals offense.
Yeah, each run was good for 8 yards. They just ran over the Chargers in the first matchup for 168 as Dalton's first pass is over the head of Green. Eric Weddle was blitzing Dalton that time.
We talked about him. He is unbelievable. A great timer of the blitz. Usually you think he's going to be in pass coverage, but of late, since their defense has settled down, they got some of their players back. He's become more of a blitzer and smart. It's all about spacing. They do it well, and timing the snap count. Eric Weddle did it perfectly.
Gio Bernard, the rookie running back, is in here. Shotgun time, 2nd and 10 for Dalton. The fake to Bernard, and Dalton fires it. Complete, about a yard shy of the first to Green. Now here's the San Diego defense. John Pagano's unit definitely strengthening the second half of the year, coming on big time. Thomas starts today for Lismore, who's out with a shoulder. And you look at the linebacking group, watch Ingram today and Jarrett Johnson on the other side. The 2 edges, they both were not in the game the first matchup against the Bengals. And there is John Pagano. Echo in at fullback on 3rd and 1. And a call on Green Ellis to pick up that tough yard. He's always been so good at picking up conversions on 3rd and 1, even back to his New England days.
Yeah, it helps when you got a 320-pound fullback. Just go in there and open up a hole, hit the first thing you see, even if it's your guy. And I think we had found out over the previous weeks, Domata Peko, leader of this football team on the defensive side. And how about that? Versatile, plays fullback too.
So they picked up a 2nd first down of this opening drive for Cincinnati. And on first down, the pass is batted down by Reyes. Kendall Reyes had a good read on that.
Yeah, it's a big deal. When you play this Bengals offense, I think the #1 problem that they give every defense in the NFL, all the screens they throw to the wide receivers, this was dangerous. The defense of the Chargers was flying up to stop it, but also the Giovanni Bernard. They have made the big plays in the screen game the last few weeks.
2nd and 10, back to the ground, and the Chargers all over this one. That was Bernard with the carry, and 4 or 5 San Diego players surrounded him. And a loss of 3.
Donald Butler is the athletic, he's the defensive player that has some pop that can, make those plays like that. Don't hesitate. Get up in there in the line of scrimmage, make the tackle, and still athletic enough to blitz and get it done, and can cover tight ends down the field also.
And he is the signal caller of that defensive unit. 4 receivers come in on 3rd and 13. Hawkins, Jones, Sanu, and Green, the receivers. Rolling out now, Dalton has Marvin Jones. And the wiggle, not enough to get free for a first. Going to be about 4 yards shy. A die on the tackle, and the Bengals will now have to punt.
I think you kind of said it earlier. This is a different defense the San Diego Chargers putting out there with Johnson and Ingram on the outside. A die, the safety, getting better. A rookie, free agent coming in, and playoff time, you want your team at your best. You could say that about the San Diego Chargers.
3rd punter in 4 weeks for Cincinnati. It's Zoltan Mesko, who played with Pittsburgh earlier in the year and the Patriots the last several years. Mesko forces a fair catch by Keenan Allen at the 14. 35-yard boot. Each team's handled it once. No score. And a look at our nationwide insurance action cam at the place they call the Jungle here in Cincinnati. Second drive for the Chargers starts at the 14. It's a give now on the toss to Matthews, and finds a little seam and picks up about 8. Again, the odds were astronomical for San Diego. And this is just a little glimpse of it over the last couple of weeks. They needed 3 things to happen week 16. They all fell in line, and then 3 more to fall in line the final week. And that's precisely what happened with San Diego.
Well, Mike McCoy said, we got a loose football team, like you said. But last week he admitted against Kansas City, he goes, I thought we got tight. We knew finally we win, we're in. They played nervous at first, but they got over.
2nd and 2, and they'll dump it off to Ronnie Brown. And that one little move picks up the first down. So does a good job of escaping Crocker, who was in on that early sack in this game.
Jim, I think the one thing that they found out, the San Diego Chargers offense, after playing the Bengals 5 weeks ago, Phillip Rivers told us yesterday that he realized when I drop back and if they're playing a zone and everybody's looking at me, throw it to the running backs. He didn't do it enough in the first matchup. He'll do it today if he gets the chance.
Short side to Matthews. And he goes out of bounds along with Adam Jones after 2. For all your pro football scores and news, download the CBS Sports app. Text SCORE to 42777 or go to cbssports.com/mobile.
We talk so much about Phillip Rivers, but also Ryan Matthews here late in the year has been the workhorse, is really running determined, and he's made a huge difference. 100 carries over his last 4 games. Runs hard, usually gets positive yards, doesn't get tackled behind the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 8. And Rivers, time in the pocket, hits the mark at midfield. It's the backup tight end, Ladarius Green. A fast emerging talent in his 2nd year on this San Diego team out of Louisiana Lafayette.
Look at the protection. Look where he's coming across, all the way across the field. And again, not to belabor the point, but the offensive line, a lot of space for Rivers to throw the football. Ladarius Green, fast, big, what a target to throw to. Rivers hits him right in stride.
And picks up 22, advances the ball to the Cincinnati side of the field. First down give, and it's Matthews, and able to shoulder off the first hit by Maualuga. And move on straight ahead for a gain of 6.
Yeah, the center, Nick Hardwick, is shook up. This is a big deal. And they're going to take a timeout here. He's taking a knee. Helps call out those defenses for Phillip Rivers.
So they'll bring out the training staff from San Diego as Hardwick is shaken up. Nick Hardwick just walked off after taking a shot to the helmet, and he was really out on his feet. It was Maualuga, and look how staggered he is here.
Yep, he got hit on the side of the head, right in the temple, Jim, and it did stagger him. Now he'll have to go through the concussion protocol test on the sideline, I would think.
And they'll bring in Rich Ornberger at center. There he is, fifth-year player out of Penn State. 2nd and 4. And Ronnie Brown with a nice cut to the inside, running behind Ornberger, who had just come in, picks up 11 and a first down.
Yeah, how about this offensive line? Very aggressive to start out this game today. And Ornberger, you're right, coming in, gets a good block. Ronnie Brown, nice changeup, bigger than Ryan Matthews, who gets those extra yards once he has contact.
Football now at the Bengals 28. Chargers have already picked up 40 yards on the ground. Here's the toss to Matthews. And a lot of bodies over there. Takes it out of bounds after a gain of 4. And you were talking about Matthews in this late season surge. His career high 144 came last week against Kansas City, and he's had at least 24 carries each of the last 4 games.
Well, he's been criticized a lot. A first-round draft pick by the San Diego Chargers years ago. But Mike McCoy said to him when he came in, I don't care what's happened, but in the past, it's a clean slate, start over, and Matthews took advantage of it.
Matthews looked a little wobbly on that sideline. 2nd and 4. The back now is Woodhead. And he gets the call. And he jukes one defender and gets near the first at the 18. Again, running behind Ornberger.
Coming in there, the big thing for the center will be when they start to blitz, can they figure out who to block? But Danny Woodhead, you look at him, so small. I heard Boomer Esiason say in the pregame that he might be the best free agent pickup of the offseason. Not going to disagree with that. He's been valuable, and even though he's small, he can run inside very well. When you watch him, Jim, when you watch him in all the games, when they're on TV or whatever, he always makes the right cut. He reads the blocks perfectly. Of course, he carried the ball a lot of times in college. Just a good example. And hard to find him, too. Stays low. Small guy who gets lower.
That's one of the cuts you talked about. Always making the right decision. He gets it within inches of the first.
And early in the year, he was a nightmare for every defense in the passing game. Teams caught up to it a little bit. So what did they do? They brought in Ryan Matthews, and they started running the football better.
And Matthews comes back onto the field on 3rd again, and inches to go. Matthews.
Looks like he got it. As you watch that play, it reminds me of what did Phillip Rivers say last night? He goes, you know, these Cincinnati Bengals, these linebackers, they're pro linebackers. That's what, when you think of a pro linebacker, that's all of them. He was all excited because he is right. Mal Luga, Perfect, James Harrison, they all can hit you and stop you in your tracks.
It is a first down, a drive that started all the way back at the 14. And again, pressure, able to escape. Now just lobs it to Woodhead, who bounces out of bounds after another first down as he signals.
How about that? Phillip Rivers can get it done in unique ways. It's not always pretty, but he is fearless in the pocket. Oh my gosh. DJ Fluker just gets blown back into Rivers. But he just shakes it off, looking down the field, and makes a nice throw to Danny Woodhead.
Boy, Dunlap had him. And then almost like a little jump pass, if you will. Takes it inside the 10. A drive that now is approaching 6 minutes. 1st and goal to go. This is a busted play, but Rivers able to make 3 yards out of it.
Well, it confused everybody, but Phillip Rivers did turn the wrong way. I think if he hands this off, it might be a touchdown inside, because you could see the linebackers were following the fullback and not the halfback. Boy, what a start by this offensive line of the San Diego Chargers.
That's already had to be shuffled because of Hardwick coming out on this drive. Hornberger's done a good job filling in already with a couple of key blocks. 2nd and goal. And it's to Woodhead, and he's across for the touchdown. From 5 yards out, Danny Woodhead.
Seen that play a couple times already today. You think it's going to go outside? Watch the blocking. Everybody going down the line, and then the defense is chasing. The running back is taught if you see daylight, take it. And how about that cut? Immediate, quick, and the right one. Yeah, that was some drive. The last time they played the Bengals, they went up and down the field, could not get the football into the end zone. They took care of that quick today.
Hey, they not only couldn't get the ball into the end zone, they didn't get in the red zone. They did not have a single snap against Cincinnati in the red zone.
But from 30 to 30, they were great.
Extra point is good. Nick Novak. How about a 6-minute, 56-second drive that covers 86 yards and is finished off by Danny Woodhead. That was a drive that measured 86 yards, 42 via the pass, 44 on the ground. Look at that balance.
And they major in this, right? They're the #1 team in the NFL in time of possession. They have many long drives. They've done it all year long. And a lot of that, the offensive line, but the quarterback. Phillip Rivers making timely plays on 3rd down. That's what keeps these drives going, because they're always trying, especially a team like against the Bengals, stay out of those 3rd and 7+ situations where you can't handle the blitz. Chargers one of the best in the NFL, 3rd and short.
Well, you're talking about also excelling at long drives or drives that take a lot of plays to move it down the field. #1 in the league and drives of 10 plays plus. As we just witnessed here in the first quarter. Novak's kick will be returned. And Tate will try the right side again. And that's a fine run back. Out of bounds at the 35. Final 40 seconds of the first quarter. And now we'll see Cincinnati's 2nd series coming up. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers coming out loose. Jim Nance, Bill Sims, Tracy Wolfson here. And a lot of people might have thought that Cincinnati could be tight. There's been all this talk about how long it's been since they've won a postseason game.
Well, talking about San Diego, Mike McCoy says this is a loose football team. He goes, it took me a while to get used to it, but I'm over it, and I understand now.
And Green Ellis with only 2 that time. 2nd possession for Cincinnati. First time with the ball. Picked up a couple of first downs, then forced to punt.
Well, what you want to do, I think now, Jay Gruden, the offensive coordinator, you want to find a way to get Andy Dalton into this game and get his rhythm going, so when it's there, the opportunity's there, he can make the throw. Always for a quarterback, they love those first couple of completions to take the pressure off, to know they can do it. Then they'll start seeing better down the field and making throws.
Final play, first quarter, as Dalton dumps it off underneath. Bernard, look at him fight for a first down. Got away from Teo, and then it took 3 Chargers to end it, but not until he picked up a first. First quarter over, 7-0, San Diego. First quarter numbers belong to the Chargers, but be warned, Cincinnati is the best second quarter team in the league this year. In fact, at home, in their last 4 games at home, they've outscored the opposition 62-0. Ball is on the ground, but Dalton falls on it. 62-0, the last 4 home games by the Bengals in this quarter. But again, at home, they've been brilliant all year long. Overall, 8-0 on the season.
It's good to be, you can be good at home when you got a lot of good players, which the Bengals do. And also when they're here at home, Jim, their defense, look at those numbers. 16 points a game. They have a good pass rush. The crowd can't get loud, and they can steamroll you when they get you in those situations.
8-0, first time since '88 when Boomer took him to the Super Bowl. As Dalton on the zone read gets within a yard, maybe 2 of the first. Gain of 8. You're 2 days away from the special premiere of the highly anticipated new drama, Intelligence. Special premiere Tuesday after NCIS, only CBS.
Well, that zone read, you just saw it. It's a big deal for this Bengals offense. That was a new look with it. They had Jermaine Gresham leading up in there to be a blocker for Andy Dalton. They do it a lot, and they do it very well.
It's 3rd and 1, a long one. And Dalton throws for it, and that was wide of the mark. Bernard was open.
Yep, these are the throws you got to hit. They did not hit enough of these last year against the Houston Texans. One of the reasons they lost. Good play call. Jared Johnson, 96. Andy Dalton was worried about him being in front, so he put a little more on the football, threw it higher, and that's a big reason why he missed it.
They'll bring back Mesco. Not even think about going for it this early in the game. But a timeout called by the Chargers.
Timeout. San Diego, they're first.
Did they have the wrong personnel, or did they suspect something?
I think they weren't lined up the way they might. It could have been a problem. That's why the Chargers took that. And we learned a lot about special teams this weekend, didn't we, talking to everybody? If you line up wrong on the defensive side, most punt teams have an automatic, their up back can change the call and run the football. And Eric Weddle, prime example of that last week against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, yes. The fake punt that no one on the sideline knew about.
Mike McCoy didn't even see it being run. He looked up and goes, what happened? But it worked well.
Pierman, the up back. They snap it back to Mesco, trying to pin him inside the 20 for the second time, and he does. Allen with the fair catch at the 10 with a flag out. This is Jeff Triplett's crew officiating this game.
During the kick, holding, number 31 of the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
The ball will be placed close to the 5 when we come back to Cincinnati. Chargers up 7-0. McCoy's Chargers lead at 7-0. A rough starting point here at the 5, but they did just drive at 86 for a touchdown, and they give it to Matthews, who runs it up the middle for about 4. We still have Ornberger in at center, and let's get the latest on Hardwick from Tracy.
That's right. We saw him go down, get hit in the head on that last drive. He went through some concussion tests. Never took his helmet away, though. They are telling me it is a neck stinger. His return questionable, but he is up. He's walking around, and he has told his teammates he is okay. We'll see if he gets back in there, guys.
Okay, so Hardwick could return. Ornberger stays in at the center position. 2nd and 5. And Matthews tumbles to within a couple of the first down. We were talking last night to Ken Wisenhunt, the offensive coordinator, former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, about Matthews, and he said, you know, he had heard it all. He knew that Matthews had faced a lot of criticism in his first years in the league, but he blocked all that out. The footwork, his blitz pickup, how to hit the hole. They've all improved this year. Not fumbling the football, that's always a big deal. Very reliable at running the football, and like you said, picking up blitzers for Phillip Rivers. 3rd and 2. Rivers pass. He had an open man. It was Allen who was open. He still has not completed a pass to a wide out. He's got 4 completions, all to backs and tight ends. Yeah, it looks like some confusion there. The pocket is good. Phillip Rivers on the outside. Look how wide open Allen is, and it just gets away from Phillip Rivers wearing gloves. Weather's okay. Just stepped up too quick. Made him throw it high. Mike Wint will snap it back to Cypress. Wint, who was released by Cincinnati. Beaten out by Clark Harris, who handles the job at the other end. And a fair catch by Tate at the 40. 47-yard punt. Hardwick's going into the locker room. And we're going to step aside here in the second quarter with San Diego on top, 7-0. We're back in Cincinnati, famous for its chili, and you've set some records here over the last 2 weeks.
You know, does that make you feel better? Because last night, dude,
I knew you were coming after me. Here's a first down handoff to Bernard, and he's got a gain of 7. By the way, the Pro Bowl isn't conferenced anymore. You've got Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders selecting the teams at the first ever Pro Bowl draft on January 22nd. Then watch the Pro Bowl live from Hawaii Sunday, January 26th. Go to NFL.com/Pro Bowl to learn more. Philip Rivers is in the Pro Bowl for a 5th time. 2nd and 3. And they call on the rookie again. This time the Chargers hold them to 2. 3rd and short on the way.
I'll bet you they run the football this time on 3rd and short. You know, you look at this offense so far, it is get a first down or 2, like we talked about, get some confidence, but they got to find a way to get this football to A.J. Green, because once you start getting the football to him, now the defense starts gravitating towards him, double covering, and then all of a sudden Marvin Jones, the tight ends, Giovanni Bernard, those guys can make plays easy.
Pecco again in at fullback. Green Ellis. First down and still chugging along to the 44. Runs it for 7 on 3rd and short.
Beautiful read. Just looks at the blockers in front of him, and instead of going right up the middle, takes it right off the tackle. Andre Smith gets a good block again. Pecco. How about the fullback? And when you watch Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, we talked about it at practice Friday. I just go, I swear, he looks faster now than all those years we saw him up in New England, staying in great shape, and still a very valuable part to this team, of course.
2nd year here in Cincinnati. His last year in New England, the Patriots went to the Super Bowl. Lost to the Giants over in Indianapolis. 1st and 10. Play action. And the pass pulled down by Gresham. And he's near a 1st. And, of course, he was out of action last week with a hamstring injury. He's got 10 and a 1st. That's their longest play of the game to this point.
Couple people run deep with A.J. Green. I don't blame them. That's the #1 key to your defense. Don't let 18 get behind us. So when you go deep, what happens? Tight ends open in the flat. Good job by Andy Dalton. Quick decision, good throw. There's A.J. Green going down the field. You see the safety, the corner underneath.
Green not in on this play. Wide to the left is Tyler Eifert.
We're good.
The rookie tight end lining up wide. Handoff to another rookie, Bernard. Give him 4.
Our boy Andrew Whitworth went from left tackle to left guard and loves it. Well, why does he love it? He goes, oh, now I get to hit somebody. When you're the left tackle, you're always worried about pass blocking, retreating. Now you're a guard. You can just fire out and hit them, and in the pulling, loves to doing it, and he does it well.
A lot of people may not know it, but he's got quite a presence in that locker room. What a leader, and what an athlete.
Can do everything. We saw him throwing the football in practice on Friday. It was awesome. I mean, really, really good.
2nd and 6. Pass was not there to the left. They go right with the screen to Bernard. It was all the way down to the 20 before he is tripped up by a dive.
They do this so much. Watch the fake to the left. It's a zone read, fake screen to the left. Now they come back to the right. That's a little new wrinkle I haven't seen before. You worry about the zone read. You worry about the outside screens. Eric Weddle trying to knock it down. Then they come back to the right. Bernard out there with nobody around him. Look out.
New set of downs at the San Diego 20. Bernard spinning 3 and a gain of 9.
Got a lot in common with Danny Woodhead, doesn't he? Low to the ground, small running back. When you see him back there, everybody thinks, oh, it's going to be a pass. But we've seen with him this year, especially the last couple weeks, very good inside runner. Again, Andre Smith on a good block. Dennis Rowland, an extra offensive lineman, comes in and plays tight end.
2nd and 1 from the 11. They stay with him. Gilchrist met him near the first, but look at Bernard taking a half a team with him all the way down to the 4. They never blew the whistle. Forward progress maintained all the way to the 4.
Yep, I was listening for the whistle, and there was no whistle saying forward progress was stopped. So the offensive linemen just get in there and scrum it. Heard that last night. It's like a rugby game. Gilchrist has him wrapped up, but they can't get him to the ground, and look at all the offensive linemen helping get those extra yards.
Green Ellis comes in for Bernard, who's done a lot of the heavy lifting on this drive. Picking up 39 yards to get him down to the 4, where it's a 1st and goal. Green Ellis bouncing around and able to maybe pick up a yard. He ran into Kevin Zeitler, the right guard, and former first-round pick. Now on goal-to-go situations, best in the league this season. 21 touchdowns, 25 goal-to-go opportunities.
Yeah, they're really good. They got a diverse playbook. They got so many different ways to go. The zone read with the quarterback runs and all the weapons to throw it to makes the defense, they have a hard time concentrating on one part of the offense.
2nd and goal. Dalton's going to throw for it. He has time and dumps it. It's called for a touchdown by Gresham. Just in time for Dalton. He had Melvin Ingram breathing right down his back.
The original receiver was covered. Andy Dalton's first playoff touchdown pass. He wants to go down the middle to Mohamed Sanu and checks off to Gresham at the last second. I think he felt him behind him. He shortened his throwing motion, got it out, and got the touchdown pass.
Nugent out to tie it. Completes the deal. Matching 7s. Dalton's first postseason touchdown pass to Jermaine Gresham. Where they are sitting side by side on the bench. Now Gresham stands up, the 2 that had a large hand in that touchdown drive. Bernard, Gresham with 2 catches, including the touch. And how about Andy Dalton? He's back there as, of course, all week long. I must have heard it 100 times. Never thrown a postseason touchdown pass.
Can you trust him in the big spot? You know, all those. But look, young quarterback, very successful in his first 3 years.
Woodhead to the 25. It's like he was supposed to go on the road and just light it up, I guess, huh?
Yeah, you got to get it done right away in this league now, Jim.
7-7. Ingram almost got to him, but it ends up in the hands of Gresham and the tying touchdown. Your favorite stars from television, movies, and music come together for the People's Choice Awards live this Wednesday at 9/8 Central on America's #1 network. Best beginning point for the Chargers. Their 4th drive of the game will start at the 25. On the draw, Matthews. And he's ridden down after a pickup of 5, and Maualuga makes the tackle and is shaken up in the act of doing that. Maualuga struggling to get to his feet. And there's timeout on the field. Maualuga was rubbing his left knee, then he got off the field sprinting to the locker room, refusing to succumb to the pain. Well, they're going to go check him out.
Yeah, hard to see. I think he was jogging off. For you and I, that would have been a sprint.
Yeah.
But for him, he was jogging.
I call that a sprint in my world.
I hear you, yeah. I've seen you run.
He's replaced by Michael Boley, and it's a 2nd and 6 for San Diego. Dump pass, Matthews, and tripped up by Crocker.
Well, Jim, while we got a second, let's go back and look at the touchdown. Andy Dalton's first. Here comes Mohamed Sanu up the middle. Then you see Gresham break out in the flat. And what you do, if the first guy's not open, don't wait. Go to your second read. And Andy Dalton did it perfectly, changed his motion, and got that first postseason touchdown pass. And he knows it too. That's a big moment. It gives him confidence for the rest of the game.
3rd and 3. Rivers in trouble. Dives near the first. Might be just a few inches shy on the spot.
Be alert to challenge this if you're Mike McCoy. He did go ahead first, so he has to be touched before the football is down.
Boy, they had him for a sack, it looked like, for a moment.
Could be touched right there, so when he hits the ground, just short of that's a really good mark.
Cypress back out. Weddle, of course, the up back who has the freedom to make some calls, as everyone's learned in the past week. Also had a successful fake punt against the Broncos in November. Coming to Tate at the 20. And swarmed by 3 Chargers at the 32 after a 46-yard punt. The weather is so much better than anyone ever imagined it would be, Tracy.
You're right. All week we heard about the cold, the freezing rain, the snow. Well, right now, guys, it feels like San Diego weather. It is warming up. The sun even came out for a brief second, even saw some blue skies. No rain since that early report I made before the game. So right now we're in luck. Looks to be good, guys.
Well, if it looks like San Diego weather, why does Tracy have gloves, a big coat on, and a hat?
Yeah, she came prepared.
She did. Okay, I like that.
Andy Dalton. And the Bengals come back out at the 32. And he's still got it. And he's throwing on the run. And he's got a completion to Marvin Jones. Give him the catch and a gain of 12. Did he have control of it?
Well, we know he's in bounds. Does his arm stay under the football? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Moves a little bit, but I think it's a catch.
Challenge flag came out right at the snap, and they stopped the play. They say the flag was out first.
San Diego is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass at the sideline.
Our first look at it, I didn't see anything that would take it away.
I didn't either, but it's a big play in Mike McCoy's mind. Marvin Jones catches it, has it. Now everybody's going to say, well, the ball moved when he hit the ground. Well, when you have contact with the ground, of course it's going to move a little bit, but never loses possession. And what I'm watching here, so I think it's going to stay as a catch.
I'm going to give you one other scenario here from that other angle we saw first. Did he finally gain possession of it? Was the football touching out of bounds once he got control of it? This one right here. At what point has he secured it, and is the ball in contact with the ground out of bounds?
Secure, knee down, and I think it's a catch even before he hits out of bounds with the football.
I think it's a catch.
I thought you were going to go the other way.
Just giving you why somebody from up top said, we got to challenge that, coach.
Well, sometimes you challenge, especially in the first half. Of course, those challenges are always valuable, important, but you think it could stop a drive or put them in a situation that really helps your team, it's worth the gamble. I'll say this, that was a zone read. Andy Dalton faked the run. Usually he keeps the football and runs it, but no, that time he went to the outside and threw the pass down the field. So a lot of wrinkles off this quarterback run today for this Bengals offense.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. You see him off the ball. He went down in kept possession of the ball in his arms as he completed the catch out of bounds when he rolled over. San Diego is charged a timeout.
Charged with the timeout. Chargers are left with one. Cincinnati, though, has all three as it stands as a 12-yard reception.
Marvin Jones, A.J. Green, two fast receivers playing outside for the Bengals. When you're playing corner, you have to give them respect, and you allow them to catch those sideline throws like Marvin Jones just caught that time.
And Dalton with a flag down. The flag is out. And it's thrown in the direction of Jermaine Gresham, who was back blocking for his quarterback.
Holding, number 84 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Very big penalty here with 3:05 to go. First penalty of the game against the Bengals.
Well, that's against, you said it, Gresham against Melvin Ingram. We talked to John Pagano, the defensive coordinator. He has Ingram back in the lineup. Jared Johnson. I said, well, what's that do to your defense? Well, he goes, first off, it gives us more athletic ability out there. And you can see it so far today. Ingram, his speed has been a factor.
And again, they were not in that first matchup 5 weeks ago against the Bengals. First and 20, and Weddle is there to quickly meet Bernard and hold him to 2. Donald Butler also in on the tackle. This new year, get a little crazy with Robin Williams and the Crazy Ones with a new episode Thursday at 9, 8 Central, only CBS.
Eric Weddle near the line of scrimmage. He is borderline phenomenal. A blitzer, awesome coming up, reading plays, making tackles. And now that they got this defense straightened out, he can kind of roam and make plays as he sees them, and it's working great for this defense.
A.J. Green on the near side, got only one catch so far. Dalton's looking left, though, and going long. Man is there! It's Jones on the sideline, and they give him the catch. Marvin Jones beating out Richard Marshall for that reception. That's good for 49 yards. And we reached the 2-minute warning with the ball placed at the 16. This is Dalton winding up on a 49-yard pass play.
Yeah, good job. Look at the right shoulder, how it's high. That allowed him to get over the top of it. That's why it went so high and fell straight down, and it was placed perfectly to Marvin Jones.
First down at the 16. Across the middle, Bernard, ball is out, fumbled it into the end zone, and is picked up by Richard Marshall. It was stripped by Donald Butler. Bernard was about to set him up at the 3-yard line.
They had everybody open that time. A good job. Andy Dalton takes the safe throw. Butler trying to get up near the line of scrimmage and take away the running back, but chases him down from behind. We talked about it. He is an impact player from the inside for this Charger defense, and great play by Donald Butler.
Did he have possession? I heard the crowd here already react to the replay. Did he have possession and the football move long enough for it to be called a catch and a fumble?
Well, let's see. Secure the catch. Feet on the ground. Does enough time elapse? When you watch it in slow motion, looks like he does, but when we do it in full speed, will it be a bang-bang play? I think it's going to be a catch and a fumble.
They are reviewing it up top.
Inside of 2 minutes.
Here's your regular speed.
Ooh. Watch at regular speed, it's pretty close, but I'm gonna still say it's a catch and a fumble. It's my guess.
There he had Butler beat. Now he turns around and has his eyes set on the end zone. Butler strips it from behind.
It is pretty close to a bang-bang play, Jim. Let's watch it one more time, full speed. Well, when you see it in full speed, if it's bang-bang, a catch, hit, fumble, it's incomplete. So I'm going to go with my original thought. I think it's going to be ruled catch and fumble.
Bernard holding out hope.
Well, I'm waiting for your opinion because I've never.
I don't see how they can overturn it. I don't think there's enough evidence. However, you know, you see some quirky things happen, including, you know, Jeff Triplett. The last time he was here at Cincinnati, there was a touchdown play by Ben Jarvis Green Ellis where he had to go under the hood. It looked like there had been contact and that he had been, you know, forced down to the ground off of a tackle caused by the opponent, but they said no contact and it went as a touchdown.
Couldn't show a replay where you saw the contact. I remember the game, saw it well, and it was later when they saw another angle late, a day later, that he was tripped. But it's a judgment call. It comes down to how Jeff Triplett sees it. And the judgment is catch, feet on the ground, did time elapse to make that football move? My opinion, yes.
Hey, Triplett's ready to weigh in on this one. Huge moment in this game.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
Okay. Directed to the point. Not only this was a good job, Bernard, getting open against Butler. Of course, a beautiful recovery by Donald Butler. I'm sure Bernard did not think he was going to be that close behind him, but they had Hawkins open for a touchdown. It was a really good play call by the Bengals.
But remember, San Diego takes over at the 11, and Cincinnati still has all of its timeouts. Matthews, with a flag out, is not out of bounds until he gets near the 18.
Holding, number 85 of the offense. Half the distance to the goal. Replay first down.
Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Cowher. And their take on the first half here in Cincinnati, plus all the latest playoff news coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Well, to this point in the game, San Diego has run the ball every time on first down.
Big reason why they've been running down first down, trying to make sure they stay in really good situations on third down if they get in that. Get in those third down.
Now Aluga, by the way, is back out there after being shaken up. And Matthews is met instantly by Gilberry and held to 1. Timeout called by the Bengals at 1:34, leaving them with 2.
Well, what we're seeing, timeouts so important in all NFL games because they're always close. But in playoff football, Jim, it is, you just can't make the mistake of wasting them in either half now. We saw it last night, and I saw it in some of the games. Timeouts used in the early one when they couldn't get the play right on the offensive side. Somebody's got to make a decision, call the play and go, and not use the timeout in situations like that. So Cincy keeping all 3 of theirs could help them get some points maybe before the end of the first half.
Woodhead, the running back, and the ball carrier. And he is slung down after 1 by Vontez Burfict. There's Burfict, who has gone from an undrafted player just 20 months ago to the Pro Bowl in his second year. And now a timeout again, Bengals. That play only took a few seconds. 3rd and 11 coming up.
Well, here's what's interesting, I think, about this. What do you do if you're the San Diego Chargers? Do you try to pick up the first down, or do you run it, make them use the last timeout, and live with, okay, we'll make them use it, make it harder for the offense, and if they get a field goal, you can live with that on the road here in the stadium.
Gets back to your last point about the currency of a timeout. How valuable that one will be. How will Cincinnati handle it?
If it's not wide open, then you run with it as a quarterback.
How will San Diego? What will they do to either force that timeout or go on ground? And Woodhead smothered after 1. Didn't take long for that timeout to be called. A lot of time too. 1:27. Bengals last time out. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Cowher. They are getting ready as we send it back to New York here in just a few moments.
Well, you got to watch the halftime report. Why? You got to see what Shannon wearing today.
I saw you give him some
props in the pregame.
Some props in the pregame.
He woke up, looked in the mirror, and he said, "Yep, this works. I'm going with it."
The only thing I didn't understand, I think he's got that look every week.
He's got it.
You pointed it out today, but that's
what is that?
That's been happening 18 straight weeks now.
Crushed velvet. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I've seen the crushed velvet. What would you call that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It works. Cypress is standing in the end zone. He has an amazing leg. And they need it now.
Wow.
Tate all the way back to the 37. And that punt by Cypress creates a significant change in field position. 51 yards, and again, big-time hang time.
Beautiful.
Darryl Stuckey with another special teams tackle. Again, look at the AFC brackets. If Cincinnati wins here, the Bengals would go to New England next week, sending Indianapolis to Denver on Sunday. San Diego win would mean the Broncos and the Chargers would meet for a 3rd time, and the Colts would travel to Gillette Stadium. We do know this. The winner of this game will face an opponent next week it has already beaten this season. 1st and 10. And Dalton just had to throw it away. That was Melvin Ingram in the backfield in a hurry, creating that throwaway. Yeah, San Diego and Denver, they split, but the Chargers got that win on a Thursday night in December. And that's when I think everybody said, you know, they really do have a chance to make the playoffs. You know, a lot of things go their way, but it was Denver's first home loss of the season. And meanwhile, Cincinnati beat New England on this field back early in the year. 2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz. Dalton got it away, and it's pulled down. The catch by Green. Sharice Wright was coming in untouched on Dalton.
Coming all the way from the far side near hash. That's when you blitz and big tall receivers. That helped Andy Dalton that time. Go up, make the catch on the high throw.
Clock running with 42 seconds, and Dalton to Sanu, and Mohamed Sanu is tackled at the 41 by Butler, and they hurry to the line.
I think you clock it right here. No timeouts. Don't try to run the play. It usually takes much longer than you think.
Set up screen, ball in the air, off the fingertips of Bernard.
Mohamed Sanu, number 12, going to come from the right side of your screen. They clear it out with Gresham. And Mohamed Sanu, high school quarterback, Wildcat quarterback for this Bengals team. Tough, aggressive. We talked about him last week. Practices full speed like all the receivers. And why? Because Marvin Lewis says if you don't, you won't catch the ball because they have such a deep roster at that position.
Mike Nugent hoping to have the chance before the half to attempt the field goal. Again with no timeout. Second down play down the sideline and out of bounds. Holding on to it.
Clock is running because he did not go forward with the catch.
Yeah, there you go. It was Gresham with the catch. Dalton quickly to the line to spike it at 2.
That was an excellent drive by Andy Dalton in this offense. They're mad about the clock moving, but that was the proper call on the sideline. The receiver was going backwards as he went out of bounds. That's why the clock kept moving.
And again, inside of 2 minutes, all these reviews come from upstairs, and they're actually reviewing that last play.
Jim, what they're going to do, review if it was a catch on the sideline.
Look how high Gresham got up to pull it down. He maintained it all the way.
Well, it looks just like the Calvin Johnson play.
Yeah, you're talking about the Calvin Johnson catch week 1 a year ago
in Chicago. Well, here we go. You make the catch. 2 feet are down. Before he gets it down, he's hit. That takes him to the ground. And Jim, you have to hold the football now all the way through the process. By the rule, this is going to be, I think it's going to be incomplete.
Well, it's a 3-point decision, because you got Nugent within range, assuming if he was able to make a kick from 46 yards. This is what you were talking about. You've seen it so many times. It was actually 2010, 2 years ago, week 1. Into the game, the Calvin Johnson rule as we know it. That was ruled incomplete.
Yeah, it was ruled in that game, Jim. It was incomplete. I think the fact secures the ball. Feet are on the ground. You can't call it a catch right away there because there's not. It's a bang-bang play. So as he goes to the ground, contact took him to the ground.
Well, if it's a catch, we'll see Nugent come out for a field goal from about 46. If it's ruled incomplete, the ball would be back at the 41. By the way, if it's ruled incomplete, they also have to reset the game clock back to around that 12 to 13 second mark.
Yes, 12, 13, 14.
I got to tell you, it took a while before they said this play was under review, because you went through that whole scenario where Dalton had to run to the line and spike it to stop the clock.
Yeah, Jeff Triplett took a long time looking at it.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. The receiver caught the ball 2 feet down and forward progress was stopped. Therefore, it is a catch at that point.
Well, again, that's one of the reasons why they called that the clock kept on running.
Well, that's it. That's what made it a catch. Forward progress was over. And so when he was taken to the ground, the fact that he let the football go, that part of the rule doesn't come into effect.
The Bengals are hurrying up because actually a spike play would not have been in the books, because otherwise the play would have been official. So they're going to be in a hurry here to make sure they get the snap away once they reset here. So they're not coming out here attempting this off an incompletion, off a spike. is good to take us into halftime with a score of Cincinnati 10 and San Diego 7. Mesco just coming on board this week, doing a good job as the holder there. Gets it down and straight through. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. Coach, to turn the ball over down inside the 5 and then come back out and be able to put some points on the board.
That's good job by the defense getting the stop. We got to play the run better in the second half defensively and keep the ball in front of us and tackle.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Jim.
All right, Tracy, we tried to warn you folks about Cincinnati in the second quarter having blanked his previous 4 opponents here at home 62-0. It's 10-0 today in the second quarter for the home team. And we've reached halftime with the Bengals up by a field goal. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Answered by Cincinnati, and the Bengals lead it by a score of 10-7. Don't miss Bruno Mars performing live at the Pepsi Super Bowl 48 halftime show. And check out exclusive content on Pepsi.com and get hyped for halftime. How hyped will the Chargers be? They did not pick up a single first down in the second quarter. They only had 1 wide receiver targeted that first half, an incompletion to Keenan Allen and no catches for Antonio Gates. They will be kicking it away to the Bengals, who deferred at the start. And Brandon Tate is ready to run one, averaging 26 yards a return on the season. And he'll have an opportunity here, stepping up to the 5. And out across the 30 to the 33. Gatchkar on the tackle. So we heard what the guys had to say back in the studio. What were your thoughts here for the second half?
Well, I agree. For the San Diego Chargers, open up the offense. Your best player is Phillip Rivers. Let him prove that he can handle this playoff situation. You know, let's don't forget, though, they were backed up. I think that had a lot to do with their play calls. For the Bengals, they got to be happy. That drive right before halftime, what a confidence boost to the football team. Gives you enthusiasm, your emotions. You feel good. And let's see if they can continue it.
Green Ellis with a great cut to the right side and plows ahead for 12 and a first down. Let's go down to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, guys, I had a chance to speak with San Diego head coach Mike McCoy coming out of the locker room, and that's exactly what he said. Said they need to open it up a little bit more. They've been running the ball efficiently. They need to do a better job on third down, and they need better protection, guys.
Mike McCoy telling his team just yesterday they practice in the snow here at a high school field. Don't have any regrets. That was their approach here today. First down carry again goes to Green Ellis. And he steps over one body, picks up a gain of 3. Andy Dalton in that second quarter threw for 138 yards in that quarter alone, plus the touchdown pass to Gresham.
Couple beautiful throws by Andy Dalton in that second quarter, especially the long one down the sideline, and also a couple good throws with a lot of pressure and people around him.
Andy Dalton becoming just the 5th starting quarterback in league history to take his team to the playoffs his first 3 years. Pat Hayden was the first to ever do it, followed by Marino, Kozar, and Flacco. And then Dalton, 2nd and 7. Here is Dalton, falling just across the 50 to the San Diego 49. Danny Woodhead with the touchdown, and that touchdown was the last first down as well, picked up by the Chargers. And Gresham with the score at the other end for Cincinnati. For the other side, as Rivers is ready to get his first look at the second half. But still, it's a 3rd and 4 for the Bengals. Dalton's going to take off again. That'll go down as a sack, but there's a flag. Legit and Ingram were there to meet him at midfield.
Ingram made him leave the pocket.
There's no foul for defensive holding on the play. Fourth down.
Quarterback gets outside the pocket. They don't call the defensive holding. Trying to get down and protect himself. Talked about it. Melvin Ingram brings more speed, and that's about the third or fourth time today he has changed the direction of the Bengals offense.
Yeah, he's had a couple of times to get in the sack department, but Dalton was able to get it away just in time, including the touchdown throw. But that time, it goes down as a quarterback takedown as Mesco. Ball bounces at the 2, and it's in for a touchback. Just a net of 30. Phillip Rivers coming out after only 6 first-half pass attempts, a career low. Back here in the Queen City of Cincinnati, Jim Mansfield sends Tracy Wolfson. Let's see what the Chargers have done with adjustments at halftime. With this unit, as Rivers dumps it off. He was looking downfield. Instead, he's got Matthews for about 9.
Well, he had downfield. Antonio Gates is open, but Phillip Rivers, what happened, what we talked about in the first half. If he sees they're going to play zone, or if he has a chance, get rid of the football quick, throw it to the running back. Little hurry-up offense to change the rhythm of what they've been doing so far today.
And I mentioned going to break. Rivers was only 5 of 6 in that first half, matching a career low for pass attempts in the first half, going all the way back to his first career start. 2nd and 1, and easily picking up the first is Matthews. You see Ornberger still out there as Hardwick has not returned since the first quarter injury, the stinger.
Yeah, I heard everybody talking about that at halftime. Now, they haven't been in situations where we're going to see if it makes a difference with Ornberger in there and Phillip Rivers calling out what they're going to do against the blitzes of the Bengals.
That's their first down again since their touchdown. Cincinnati had registered the last 12 in that department before that moving of the chains. And is that going to be a catch? It's Gates, who's mixing it up with Maualuga and Perfect. And they're going to rule it on the field as a catch, his first of the game.
Maualuga in there has a brace on that left knee. But Phillip Rivers likes this little muddle huddle hurry-up offense, gives him more time to check off and do what he wants, but also he thinks it will simplify the Bengals defense and they won't take chances.
2nd and 5 Woodhead. Into a pile at the 41. About a yard short of a first. 3rd down on the way. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, guys, you mentioned it. Nick Hardwick's still not out there, and I was told that he is still listed as probable, but he walked out of that locker room without his helmet.
What does that mean to this offensive unit?
Well, you know, so far, Jim, I think they've done a good job without him in there. Now, he's responsible for so much. But Ornberger, like I said, has done a good job since he's been in.
3rd and 1. Throwing for it and getting it. As Keenan Allen has his first catch today. And he thought he wasn't touched, but they'll rule it down after a gain of 9.
3 receivers to the right, nobody open, finds the outlet receiver, who's Keenan Allen, coming from the left side. Well done by Phillip Rivers and good pass protection by the offensive line.
Was he touched? Got a player down. Montez Perfect. Perfect is out. Boley is in at linebacker. First down carry, Woodhead. For a gain of 2. So Gates has his first catch of the game on this drive, and so does Keenan Allen, who was touched.
There's 55, Perfect. Coming over, makes the tackle. Keenan Allen, in case you're wondering, home was touched, but It was blown dead anyway, so even if he wasn't, Jim, it was going to be marked right there.
Perfect sits out one play in his back end. 2nd and 8. Woodhead trying to duck below some tackles and has a gain of about 3. Pecco with the tackle.
You know, that was a good example of the center and quarterback communicating. They had a play on Jim. You could see Ornberger turning around, trying to make sure everything is straight with the running back, the quarterback, and more importantly, the offensive lineman.
Eddie Royal to the right. Gates to the left, 3rd and 5.
Here's the blitz you worry about. 2 inside linebackers near the center.
Rivers has the first down. And it's Green. Ladarius Green with his 2nd catch. Goes for 8.
Look what they do. They come out of the blitz. Good pickup. Phillip Rivers loves stepping up in the pocket. He's been doing it all year. One of the big keys for this Bengals defense today, inside pressure, I have seen none. So Pecco, Thompson, inside, stay in your lanes. Don't let the quarterback step up.
Fake to Woodhead, and all kinds of time to Royal at the 10, and he's tumbling down at the 3. Eddie Royal with his first catch of the game.
Well, you give the credit here to the quarterback. Phillip Rivers looking down the middle of the field. The safeties are not looking at it, and that's why he turns and finds Eddie Royal, who did not play in the first game. Look at that. Watch the safety, stays inside. Nobody to help deep down the sidelines, and Rivers, great job of putting it right in there. An excellent touch downfield thrower. That's Phillip Rivers. Uses his whole body and can really drop it in there right on the spot.
5 out of 6 in the first half, Rivers. 5 out of 5 on this drive in the 3rd quarter. Going to the end zone. Ball is pulled down for the catch and the touchdown, and it's Ladarius Green putting San Diego back on top.
Go ahead, Jim. We've heard so much about this guy from the San Diego Chargers over the last 5 weeks, and we know why. Fast, tall. How about that target? Secures the catch.
Did he get the 2nd foot down?
Yeah, let's look. If he's pushed out of bounds.
Because he swings the leg.
Oh, there it is.
It just tapped.
It did tap
the turf.
Beautiful throw by Phillip Rivers. No doubt about it. Throw it high enough. Chris Crocker cannot get there to defend it. Well, they say he might be the fastest guy on the whole football team.
He caught a touchdown in the first matchup against the Bengals for the Chargers' only touchdown that day. San Diego drives down the field, takes the lead at 14-10. And here's a look at our nationwide insurance action cam. Chargers 80-yard drive to take the lead at 14-10. Rivers 6 out of 6 on that drive with 5 different targets. Tate out of bounds close to the 30, and this is one thing you've been talking to me about all week long. Rubbing up the footballs.
Look at the difference. Yep. Look at yours. Grab it. It's as slick as can be. This is the way footballs used to be. Look what it is now. Roughed up. They put mud on them. They do everything. And why I'm bringing it up, in bad weather games, you can't. This helps the quarterback so much. They can get the grip if it's cold, even if it's snow, whatever. And, of course, it's going to come in really handy later today up at Lambeau Field. But rule changes, talent of the quarterbacks, the way offenses are willing to take chances, but these footballs are just as important as all those other things that are talked about.
The one I was holding up was right out of the box. The other one was treated like the one on the field right now for Dalton. Still has the football. And he is sacked. And it's Jarrett Johnson this time.
I noticed this in the first game when they played, Jim. I talked about it in the pregame. the Bengals just not getting people open down the field. Trying to go across, there's a guy underneath Sanu, and also there's A.J. Green. Always two people looking at him, isn't there? But the screens, Andy Dalton running the football, some of the gimmick plays are there, but they can't get the core of their offense throwing to these big wide receivers down the field working today.
2 sacks in this quarter by the Chargers. 2nd and 14, and they're after him again. And incomplete in the area of Gresham. Sharice Wright was trying to make a play on a pick. And again, it was Jared Johnson for the 2nd straight play. He was in the backfield.
Well, the big weapon for the Bengals, of course, it's A.J. Green. No matter where they line him up, they line him up left side, right side. They put him in the slot. You can see the double coverage. Sometimes when you don't get your lead receiver or leading guy on your offense going, it affects everybody else. And that's the case so far here today with this Bengal offense.
Yeah, 2 catches, 23 yards for Green, who had 98 catches on the year, over 1,400 yards. 3rd and 14 as Dalton leaves the pocket and dives. The ball comes out, and it's recovered by a dive. And he went head first on the way down. He did not give himself up, so it's ruled a fumble and a recovery by San Diego.
That's right, head first. The ground can cause a fumble when there's no contact. And that ball comes out. It is a fumble.
All turnovers, of course, are reviewed. But you don't see any situation here how this could be overturned. Dalton,
he's not giving himself up. He went head first. That's why the play continues. He knew where the first down marker was, Jim. He was trying to hit the ground and slide for the first down before somebody hit him. Clearly, the ball is out before Donald Butler touches him. This is something, you know, I got to tell you, plays like this, you never practice this. This is new and unique. One of the reasons why he fumbled.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. By rule, the quarterback is going forward, hits the ground, and the ball comes loose before he is touched down. Therefore, it is a fumble with a clear recovery for San Diego. 1st and 10, San Diego.
and that 1st and 10 will be at the Cincinnati 46. Dalton had not fumbled in his 7 previous games, but twice today the ball has popped out. That was the first one lost. First time either side has started a drive in opponent territory. And the end around to Eddie Royal. He's got 9. Did you see that block?
I sure did. Keenan Allen makes the block. Michael Johnson now down. Eddie Royal's the guy that runs reverses a lot of times. Slot receiver. Darius Green gets a block. Well designed by Ken Wisenhunt, the offensive coordinator. Reggie Nelson never saw Allen coming inside. You know, you look at this Bengals defense, though, Jim. Yeah, they're put in a tough spot right here. One of the best in the league. 5th against the rush, 5th against the pass. They're 3rd overall, 5th in points allowed. So moments like this, you just can't always give them perfect conditions. You got to go out there and make a stand and not give up points.
Ken Wisenhunt, his name being prominently linked to the opening up in Detroit, and now also apparently in the running for the Tennessee opening, which just became vacant yesterday, the firing of Mike Munchak. Wisenhunt has been an offensive coordinator calling plays in a wild card game here at Cincinnati before, when he was under Bill Cowher at Pittsburgh.
Well, he built this offense from scratch this year with San Diego, and if Phillip Rivers didn't like it, he took it out of the playbook.
You might remember in that game they had an end-around touchdown pass in the Steeler victory here in that wild card game. 2nd and 1, and Woodhead gets past the line and up ahead to the 27.
Or the inside blocking for this run game today. The center, Ornberger, the double team on Domata Peko. That is magnificent. And they push him so far back. Ray Maluga can't get over to make the tackle.
And again, no huddle. First down. And Woodhead. That's Dunlap. Able to corral him after 4. If you thought your fantasy season was over, it's not, because you can play NFL Playoff Challenge with 8 players total, 4 rounds, and you can learn all about it. NFL.com/fantasy. 2nd and 6. Chargers already over 100 yards of offense in this quarter, which still has 4 minutes remaining. Fake into the line and going to the right side in the area of Royal.
Well, the one thing Phillip Rivers is doing here today to try to neutralize this defense is look, read, throw it. Not trying to wait for people to come open, not trying to move around too much, because he knows they're fast, they're good on the defensive side, and if he does those things, it usually would lead to a turnover.
Rivers coming off only his 2nd incompletion. Michael Johnson is back in after missing only 1 play.
Here it is again, what they worked on all week. The linebackers lining up inside. I say they come this time.
Rivers goes to the left side, and perfect pass to Allen for another first.
Well, this time they give a little change up. They actually keep one of the linebackers here to make sure he doesn't step up and to watch Danny Woodhead. It's not a perfect throw by Phillip Rivers, but leads Allen back to the sideline. Knows by the look he has 1-and-1 on the outside, and that's tremendous placement of the football. Phillip Rivers can throw the ball and still be accurate with people all around him at his feet. He does not get nervous when there's pressure put on him.
He's got a new set of downs at the 13. He gives it to Woodhead, brings it to the 8. Pick up 5.
Talk about a quick decision, Jim. This was fast. Watch Danny Woodhead. Think he's going outside. To heck with that. That was an awesome block inside. Clary, the right guard, gets his man, pushes him. That's what Danny Woodhead read. That's why he cut it up in there so fast.
He's got both tight ends in the game, Gates and Green, as it begins to rain here for the first time. 2nd and 5, and again it's Woodhead. And they grab him by the ankles. He's able to fall down close to the 6. It'll be 3rd and 3. That was Maluga. Tackled him in perfect, slow to get up.
Maluga might have saved the touchdown that time. He is everywhere today in the run game. Inside of this defense, getting pushed around, Maluga to stop some big runs.
Rivers wearing gloves. Third and 4. And unloads it. That was a dangerous pass in the area of Woodhead. And it'll bring out Novak for the short field goal try.
Yeah, they gave him a unique formation, trying to confuse the defense. The Bengals all over it. Nobody open as you look around the field. Let's watch it. Just watch. Here's where he wants to throw it. You tell me you're playing quarterback. They go back inside. Everybody's covered. And it's a throwaway by Phillip Rivers.
Nick Novak. How about this? 34 of 37 on the year. Did not get a lot of acclaim for a great year. He's made his last 17. This from 25. It's good. To make it a 7-point margin. So the second quarter belonged to Cincinnati, but the third quarter belongs to the Chargers. 10 unanswered. 25-yard field goal by Novak. 2 minutes to go, quarter number 3. 17-10, San Diego. When these teams met December the 1st in Southern California, Cincinnati won the game 17-10. deep for Tate. And slammed down by Gatchkar and others at the 23. Let's go back down to Tracy.
Well, guys, that 1981 AFC Championship game, the Freezer Bowl, was talked about all week. There was actually a player from one of these two teams that was there for that game. It was Mike Nugent. He was inside his mother's belly 2 months before he was born. She was a Cincinnati ticket holder. The doctor said, you can go as long as you stay warm, the baby will stay warm. And guys, will be no surprise that Mike Nugent has no memories of that one.
That's right. Grew up in Centerville, Ohio. Lifelong Bengals fan, kicking for his hometown team. But his team is down 7. Late third quarter. And Bernard bouncing around and able to only manage a gain of 2. Ingram was the first to make contact. It is a different San Diego defense with Melvin Ingram on the field.
Yeah, no question. And what they've done on the defensive side today, the Chargers have taken away all the drive starters, the screens, the unique runs, the easy plays for the quarterback. They have taken away those so far, making it tough on the Bengals offense.
2nd and 8, coming after Dalton, who's forced again to just fling it to the sideline. Teo along with Reyes were both chasing after Dalton.
Kendall Reyes, you put him in there with Melvin Ingram. You got Jared Johnson, Corey Legent. These are some pretty good pressure guys. They're not going to get there quick. You know, guys like Kendall Reyes, but they can push the pocket. That's what he did that time. Made Andy Dalton break once again and throw it away.
Starting to come down pretty good here, and it's probably going to stay that way the rest of the day, and later tonight turn over to snow. But already back to a 3rd down situation for the Bengals, who've only picked up 1 first down in this quarter. Again, they break in, and it forces the pick. And it's Sharice Wright running it back. Horse collar tackled at the 4-yard line.
Boy, John Pagano timed it perfectly. They caught the Bengals. They could not pick up the blitz. They overload the right side of the offense, and Andy Dalton makes the throw under pressure. And when you do that, when you throw under pressure, Jim, you don't see it cleanly. You can't step in the throw. It leads to mistakes a lot of times.
It was Reyes who forced that bad throw, and Wright who picks it off. And it's going to be a penalty on top of it against Sanu.
There's no foul on the play for a horse collar tackle.
Oh, they're going to pick up the flag.
The tackler grabbed the back of the jersey.
Well, Jim, let's look at it. What causes? Here comes the blitz. You're going to see the free runner. Andy Dalton throws it. Doesn't see it cleanly. And that was it. That was the first time today I saw John Pagano send that overload blitz to the right side. They weren't ready for it. And a good play by Sharice Wright, trapping the receiver, coming off the outside and getting the interception.
3 giveaways in the last 5 drives, and it's 1st and goal. Run it with Woodhead, and nothing there except 4 Bengals waiting for him, including Reggie Nelson. And there's a flag out.
Could be a personal foul on James Harrison.
Personal foul, face mask, defense to half the distance of the goal, automatic first down.
So Triplet doesn't identify any one culprit here, but it is James Harrison, the former Steeler, former NFL Defender of the Year.
Well, no doubt that was the correct call.
So instead of a loss of 2, basically we get to replay the down at the 3. 1st and goal. Hold on, whistle, the play is dead.
Delay of game, offense, number 17. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That'll drive a coach crazy.
Well, you got to remember, after that penalty, that play clock is set to 25. So Phillip Rivers probably not glued into it.
You can see Chad Reinhardt. He knew they were in trouble. He was tapping his foot and even tapped the center to try to go ahead and snap it and beat the play clock.
By the time they reset it, the quarter's going to be over.
Start when we initially ruled the ball ready for play. Put the game clock back to 28 seconds and the play clock at 25.
Wright's interception set him up right here at the doorstep of the end zone. 20 seconds and counting to go in quarter number 3. Already putting 10 points on the board since the intermission. First and goal from the 8. And Rivers goes over the top of everyone. Jones was covering Woodhead.
It's interesting to see how this holds up. Phillip Rivers worried about the gloves that he wears on his hands. If it rained, he wasn't sure they would work if the footballs did get wet. My experience is they work pretty well when the football is wet also. Nobody opened that time. Good throwaway by Phillip Rivers.
And on second and goal. Draw, Woodhead, room to go, down to the 1 to close out the quarter. Running behind again, Ornberger. We're through 3 quarters in Cincinnati, and San Diego leads at 17-10 and looking for more. You're watching the NFL on CBS. We're back to start the 4th quarter. San Diego trying to go up a couple of touchdowns.
Ken Wisenhunt caught the Cincinnati Bengals playing pass all the way on the run. The play before, they got him down to the 1. Nobody alert for it, and that's why Danny Woodhead got it to the 1-yard line.
Ronnie Brown comes in the backfield on 3rd and goal, a yard out. They give it to the veteran, and no chance as Malaluga stirs things up for a loss of 4.
What a game he is having today, Ray Malaluga. Reads it, they go outside, number 58, shoots through there, reads it perfectly. Oh my gosh, he weaved his way through there like a running back, trying to find a running lane.
Yeah, this wasn't on Ronnie Brown.
Well, you bring in the big back, hoping to just overpower the defensive front, and it did not happen.
Now to go up 2 scores, it's Novak. He's already had 1 chippy in this half from 25. Now from 23, and he's good again. 20-10. San Diego. First minute of the final quarter. Well, that's a win for the Bengals defense, holding him to a field goal. But a touchdown and 2 field goals in the last 7.5 minutes. Put up by the Chargers to go up 2 scores at 20-10. And we'll see if Cincinnati can somehow rekindle what was happening in the second quarter. Turning it over 3 of the last 5 drives. Tate at the 6. And he's out of bounds. Plus a flag.
Holding number 57 of the return team. The 10-yard penalty, first down.
Called against Vincent Ray. Well, Phil will be breaking it down with Chris and JB on Inside the NFL, all the artistry of NFL films. The show the pros watch, Wednesday at 9, only on Showtime.
Yeah, my boy Chris Collinsworth, he's in the stands today.
Yes, he is. They honored the participants from the Bengals Freezer Bowl team.
Freezer Bowl. Well, those footballs we showed you earlier maybe it'll come in handy for Andy Dalton, helping control it in this rain.
And nothing open at all for Bernard as Butler sets him back a yard.
Well, as you watch this San Diego team, they're more emotional right now. They're jumping around. They feel great about what's going on. Of course they do. They're up 20-10 here in the fourth quarter on the road in the playoff game. The Bengals need that play to get momentum on their side and get this offense going again.
2nd and 11. Coming after Dalton. Unloads it. On the mark with Green. That's only his 3rd catch today.
Yeah, boys, what a tough throw. Andy Dalton's got to make this sideline throw out of his end zone in the rain, right on target. Boy, good motion that time. Gets on top of it again. What I mean by that right shoulder gets high. Another perfect spiral to the sideline and to A.J. Green.
Who would have believed that up to this point, Ladarius Green of the Chargers would have a bigger game than A.J. Green. As Bernard is knocked right down by Jarrett Johnson for no gain. And again, Indianapolis advancing to the divisional round last night with that stunning 28-point comeback. And the Colts, of course, with great interest watching this one, knowing that if Denver wins, then the Colts will head to New England. If the Bengals come back and take this one, then Indianapolis heads to Denver. 2nd and 10. Tough ball throw. Bernard slips through a tackle and has the first down. He got away from Melvin Ingram.
Well, it was a blitz that time. It put Ingram on Bernard. Here comes the blitzer. The Bengals don't even see it. They don't need to because it's a quick throw to Giovanni Bernard.
Even though the Bengals got that field goal right before the half, really the momentum in this game changed on the Bernard fumble inside of 2 minutes to go.
No doubt about it.
It's Bernard again. And he's up ahead for 7 with Legion on his back.
You know, as I look at this Chargers defense, remember what they told us last night. The key why they were hoping to play better, and they are playing better, is all these linebackers. And you watch John Pagano, they are constantly changing players. He's those big guys who are fast, like his outside linebackers, like Jarrett Johnson, Melvin Ingram, 30 to 40 plays max a game. More than that, they become ineffective.
2nd and 4. And that's a first down catch by Marvin Jones. I'll tell you, it's getting nasty here in the late stages, and for the Bengals trying to come back from 10 down. The one good thing for them is they do have the wind at their backs.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal, just in case for field goals. And if you can't get the perfect grip on the football, being downwind will help you get it to the target.
Dalton thought about it. Now, shovel pass. Bernard for 17. Down to the San Diego 35.
Really good job by Andy Dalton. He's going to take off and run the football. Nobody open down the field, but sees Bernard quick, shovels it to him. Look at those 2 hands around that football now, Jim.
He's going to be thinking about that for the rest of this game. He knows one more time of letting it slip out of his hands, it's going to be a miserable offseason. And again, first down throw, and he's intercepted. Dalton threw it right into the arms of Ingram, who stepped in front of Eifert, the rookie tight end, and made the pick.
Yeah, it was a killer. He predetermined where he was going to throw it. All these short passes, and Ingram read it. And sometimes you just misjudge the athlete who makes the play. Melvin Ingram, what a job. ACL surgery back in May. Now a big part of this defense.
Now let's check the flag.
After the play is over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 73 of Cincinnati. 15 yards added to the end of the play, first down.
And a frustration flag on Anthony Collins. Dalton's critics won't let him forget this one. His second interception thrown this half. Andy Dalton, 2 costly interceptions thrown in this second half. And the Chargers, aided by 15 yards on the penalty, have it at midfield with Woodhead for 6. What happened on that throw, Phil?
Here's what happens real quick, Jim. Tyler Eifert, here he is. He's going out. Watch the late shift by Ingram. And that late shift, Andy Dalton does not adjust his thinking. But Ingram just gets underneath him and makes the catch. What a game by Melvin Ingram today.
What a game by John Pagano's defense. 2nd and 4. And Ronnie Brown able to slip through that first hit and get within about a foot of a first down. Again, the Pro Bowl is going to be all different this year. Hall of Famers Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders will select the teams at a Pro Bowl draft on Wednesday, January 22nd. Then the game, the 26th from Hawaii. Check all the information out at NFL.com/Pro Bowl.
Listen, every play is important. That last play, breaking that tackle and getting 4 extra yards, a first down takes 2 more minutes off the clock against the Bengals.
Yeah, all they need here, Phil, is about a foot. Thanks to that effort by Brown. And they go with the fullback, McClain.
I hate that play. I always have. Why do you give it to somebody who hadn't touched the football basically the whole year? And they don't even have time to get momentum to get to the line of scrimmage.
And now you got a 4th and inches coming up. And what will you do? Right here, Wisenhunt, the coordinator, Mike McCoy, what will they do? They're showing signs, going for it.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a tough call. Mike McCoy, first-year coach, doesn't hesitate, sends them in there, knows if they get a first down here, their chances of winning go up significantly. Don't jump off sides.
I'm surprised they didn't ask for a measurement first because it's so close and buy some time.
Delay of game. Offense, number 17. A 5-yard penalty. 4th down remaining.
Just trying to seduce them into jumping early, but now they'll come out with Cypress.
Didn't even have time to get off a good fake that time, Jim. That was probably the right call. Your defense is playing well. The other team is struggling big time on offense. Takes 2 scores to beat you.
Cypress only 1 touchback all year versus 30 punts inside the 20. He's almost automatic, and he pins him at the 11. It was McClain who got the call. It was Gilberry who wrapped him up, and now the Bengals will get possession again. Just 8 minutes to go, and the jungles turn into a rainforest with the Bengals undefeated at home this year, down 10.
Well, that 3rd down stop, that was big for this team. Gives them a little extra time, over 8 minutes, 2-minute warning, 3 timeouts.
Dalton. And he's going to fall ahead for 1. Where is his confidence level right now?
Well, I was just getting ready to say that, Jim. Even though you've had a rough day, the interceptions are bad. That last one was his worst play of the day. And now's not the time to be conservative. You got to be willing to go down in flames. And what I mean, see it, trust what you're doing, and let it go.
2nd and 9. And an open man. And that's Hawkins scooting ahead for a first down.
You know, with this first down, I think I would go into hurry-up offense. Looks like they will. 7 minutes to go. You got a long way to march down the field. San Diego has shown really nothing as far as they're going to give you a chance to throw it deep down the field and get an easy play.
It's taken them over a minute now to run 2 plays. They do need to pick it up. First down. And the Jones get the feet down? Yes, he did. Gain of 8. Marvin Jones, 10 touchdown season.
Good throw and catch this time to Marvin Jones. Played the last 6 games last year for the Bengals after having an injury and came back this year and has been a force all year long. Boy, good fake snap count by Andy Dalton. Call him in a blitz.
Yeah, Weddle sneaking up on him. 2nd and 2. Bernard, the right side is there for the taking. And it's Weddle who comes over from the far side to drag him down. But a nice run of 12. And again, the Bengals need to pick up the pace.
They sure do. Good job by Bernard, reading the defense. Being patient, getting it outside. But when you see a blitz, that's the time you want to look down the field and throw the football.
First down, Dalton. Long ball. The man is there, and he can't hold on. It's A.J. Green. The play was there for the taking.
It sure was. It's not a clean football by Andy Dalton. A.J. Green. Oh, man, what is Sharice Wright looking inside for? Trying to make a play somewhere else. Watch your guy. But the underthrow, he still should have caught the football. Go up there, catch it with your body, and protect it.
What a difference that would have been. Would have been set up inside of the 10.
What was Sharice Wright doing?
Quickly now over to Hawkins. And it's Marshall on him. And William Hawkins makes the catch, comes over and helps a member of the sideline crew.
Yeah, you know, he's a wild card in this offense too, Hawkins. He makes big plays. Last week, 2 catches, 60-some yards. They haven't found a way to get him the football outside today either. He
had a 50-yard reception, catch and run in the first game against San Diego. 3rd and 7, and that's over the head of Hawkins, but it draws the flag. It came on a 3rd and 7.
Prior to the pass, holding number 38 in the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Called on Gilchrist.
Yeah, it's a blitz, so he goes to the seam right down the field. There's the contact way past the 5 yards. He's got him the whole way. Tough to throw these seam passes like that to Hawkins because he's so small.
That's the first penalty today on San Diego's defense.
And you know, already right now, 5:37 to go, no doubt, this is 4-down territory for the Cincinnati Bengals.
First down from the 49, and Dalton sidesteps the pressure and unloads it out of bounds. But gets smothered in the meantime by Reggie Walker.
Good throwaway, don't take a sack, knowing that you still got 3 other chances to get this done. They're trying to go for a home run. A little move go by Marvin Jones to the outside. They're not fooled. Here he is, top of the screen. Watch what he does. Let me stop. Go. Marshall, good job. Keep them in front of you.
Got 4 wides and an empty backfield with 5.5 remaining. Second and 10 to Gresham. And tries to keep his balance. He has about 7, maybe 8. Hey, the Subway postgame show will come up after the game with JB and all the crew. Plus, we'll hear from the winners here on the field. All coming up on the Subway postgame show. 3rd and 3 on the way here, Phil.
Yeah, you know, you look at this defense, all fresh pass rushers in there. For the Chargers, the depth is really showing up today in this game.
Play action, firing, incomplete. That was well covered. Green wanted a flag on Sharice Wright.
Well, it was well covered, but there was also a lot of contact out there. 3rd and short.
Green with only 1 reception in this half. Just 3 for the game for 34 yards. And now we face 4th down. What do you look for them to do here?
We saw it last night in the Eagles game. A lot of times you use the quarterback read here. It doesn't look like they're going to do it from this formation.
Goes for the big ball instead, and incomplete without a flag. It was headed toward Marvin Jones, but was well overthrown.
Yeah, not a good play. Outside technique. Never should have thrown it to Marvin Jones.
I could just hear the disgust in your voice at that last play call.
Outside technique, inside safety. Perfect coverage for that throw. Probably should have stayed to the 3 receiver side.
And turning it over on downs as Ronnie Brown again gets the carry. We have been trying to find out if everything's fine with Matthews, and not get any word on that as we get a lot of Ronnie Brown and Danny Woodhead in the second half. Woodhead very effective. We got a timeout called here by Cincinnati, and it's been let's face it, it's been a second half meltdown by the Cincinnati offense, blanked in the second half.
It has been, and that's where it's going to be unless they make some terrific comeback here, Jim. They made the mistakes. Yeah, I give San Diego a lot of credit, but all day long, the Bengals on the offensive side never got in rhythm. Like I said, never got those plays that they usually get to get the drive started, the screens, Andy Dalton running the football. And offense is so much about that rhythm, getting that first down, getting everybody comfortable, and also gets coaches comfortable. Makes it easier for them to go down that play sheet and call the right play.
2nd and 10, and Brown for about 3, and this will bring on another timeout, leaving the Bengals with 1. It's a big San Diego doubleheader day actually on CBS Sports, because the Aztecs are coming up next, taking on Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. San Diego State and Kansas right here on the road to the Final Four, CBS Sports. Okay, 3rd and 7 with 4.5 to go.
Yep, the Bengals still have 1 timeout and a 2-minute warning.
Mike Zimmer knows his defense, give his team any chance, has to make a stop right here.
I'd be very surprised if it's anything but a run.
There it is. And Brown is stopped short, well short of the first.
This is what Mike McCoy's doing. And really, you look back at the first half, we talked about maybe too conservative, but they weren't going to do anything emotionally or to get themselves in trouble. That's why they were conservative.
All right, Cincinnati exhausting its last timeout. And Tracy, what do you have?
Well, guys, you were mentioning it. A lot of Danny Woodhead, a lot of Ronnie Brown, and not much of Ryan Matthews. I asked the Chargers, and they told me it's not a health concern. It's just part of the rotation, guys.
Thank you, Tracy. Of course, Ryan has been carrying the load here the second half of the season. At least 24 carries a game the last 4 games of the regular season. But only 13 attempts today, and not many of them coming since halftime. Cypress again, so accomplished. And he's trying to pin a team inside the 20. He didn't get that one quite as deep as he had hoped. Fair catch made at the 19 by Tate. Okay, the AFC playoff picture. If San Diego holds on, it'll be Chargers-Broncos round 3 next Sunday. That's where we'll be, and it would mean Colts at Patriots on Saturday night.
3 times in 1 year. I did that a couple times. It's the worst.
They went 1-1. They each won on the opponent's home field.
That's right.
Dalton. He's got Jones. And a couple of Chargers bring him down, including Butler at the 41.
Well, everybody's going, well, why haven't they done this all day? Well, the reason is they saw a different defense that time. They dropped back, trying to protect against the long throw. Underneath was wide open.
That's Gresham. He finds the first down yardage and steps past it for a gain of 11. NFC playoff side, it's all set now for the Saints at Seattle next Saturday afternoon, and the Green Bay-San Francisco game, which is coming up next. That winner will take on Carolina down in Charlotte next weekend. We haven't had a pair of 6s win on the same weekend of Wildcard weekend since 2010. Jones got a great job to save time there, conserving time and getting out of bounds.
Well, look what they're doing, Jim. This is why they got 3 guys deep. They got all these underneath guys. You play that, so you let them catch it and make the tackle and keep the clock running. But everybody, the defense expands so much, nobody's there to stop their pass catcher from getting out of bounds.
From the 37 of San Diego. Dalton is going to be sacked. It's Cam Thomas. Pressure also applied by Donald Butler and a loss of 2.
What a change-up. Here they go. They play the most conservative defense you can call, and right away they come back with a blitz. Andy Dalton can't throw it because of the jumper, and he gets sacked.
3:20 to go. And that pass, a little too steep for Jones. And again, coming up, the Subway post-game show, JB, Dan, Shannon, Coach Cowher, and Boomer, who was the last man to lead Cincinnati to a postseason victory back in 1990 in a big game against the Oilers.
I think Boomer and Dan Marino, of course, I know also, to be a playoff quarterback at home, you lose a playoff game, especially when the spotlight is on you. If you lose, just be ready for the onslaught, because it's coming.
3rd and 13. And there is another mishandle by Bernard. And again, I think the game changed on his fumble.
I do too, Jim. It was a chance for them to really take control of it and force the hand maybe of the San Diego Chargers. But they never got in that situation because of the lack of Christmas by their offense today. The throwing, the catching, you name it, it's all been subpar.
The North champions, 4th and 13 with 3:13 to play. Dalton down the middle, and is there a flag? I thought there might be one, but it's ruled incomplete. And they turn it over on downs again. Jones was the target. There's a Dye who was defending. And boy, is that rookie been quite a find, an undrafted rookie out of Central Michigan, getting more and more time in the second half of the season, making plays.
Picks up the receiver coming across the field. That's a good no call. The pass is not catchable. He didn't pull the receiver. And you said it, a Dye, a rookie. Keenan Allen, they got a couple of rookies on this football team that have stepped in and really made a difference.
And now Cincinnati cannot stop the clock. Cincinnati in this half on offense, 3 giveaways. And of course that was the other one, 4 overall. That was in the second quarter. But 3 times giving it away in this half. 2 times stopped on 4th down. Just a total shutdown. Blanked since halftime. This will bring us, well, a first down run. Actually, he's going to take off with it. It's Ronnie Brown. Taking it home for the touchdown to put this game away.
Well, the defense has tried to hang in there most of this day, Jim. They've been put in so many tough situations, and they just finally cracked. Everybody up near the line of scrimmage. The overplay. George Iloka, he overplays it too, trying to get over to make the tackle. And Ronnie Brown, once he gets past the line of scrimmage, nobody there.
58 yards for Ronnie Brown. That's the longest run of the whole season for the Chargers. Well, it was pretty much over. Although had they stopped, it would have been a third down play coming up out of the 2-minute warning. But that sealed it. That got people, well, all psyched up for a rematch game again with Denver.
As we came in today's game, one of my big questions even to you was, yes, I know the Chargers have been playing playoff football, but do they still have that energy to go on the road and face a good team and still get it done? Well, the answer is yes. They showed that energy really all day long. We saw the difference a couple players have made on the defensive side, and we saw a difference in their offensive line because they have all their starters back in the lineup.
These two teams combined 100 years in existence combined. Only one championship, and that was San Diego 50 years ago today, taking on the Boston Patriots in the AFL championship game. Keith Lincoln with the long run. Tobin Road, a couple of touchdown passes, including that one to Lance Allworth. And on January 5th, 1964, January 5th, proven to be a pretty good date in Charger history. That was the 63 season, but played in 64. Swift kick. And Harriman is out of bounds at the 47. 20-0 second half for San Diego.
Well, he is an energetic guy, no question. He is the one that gets it done for the San Diego Chargers. Really, a lot like Dan Fouts was when he was there. Dan Fouts was the man in charge, and there's no doubt when you hang around this football team, Phillip Rivers is the man in charge. And for Andy Dalton, there was a real brief glimpse today where you thought, okay, he's in rhythm, this is really going to work. But then once it disappeared, they have never gotten it back.
Timeout called by the Chargers. They did not have enough players on the field. By the way, San Diego's last playoff win was a wild card game, 08, taken on Peyton and the Colts. The winner in overtime, Darren Sproles. The last time the Chargers won a postseason game. Of course, they're on their way to taking on Peyton and the Broncos next Sunday. They handed Denver its only home loss of the year, and today they're going to hand the Bengals their only home loss of the season. Over the top to Bernard. This is going to bring us to the 2-minute warning. Ronnie Brown puts it away. A second half onslaught by San Diego. And things got dreary when the rains came in the second half here in Cincinnati for the home team. Just 2 minutes to go. Jim Nance, Phil Simms, Tracy Wilson, Lance Barrow, Mike Arnold, and all the crew here. And the Bengals can't stop the clock. They can throw it long, though, and it's knocked away. Thrown in the area of A.J. Green. They've done quite a job on Green today.
They sure have, and I'll say this. You know, Andy Dalton, sometimes we cover games. We always think, we have a feel for what's going to go on. I was convinced that Andy Dalton would not be the reason if they lost today. I thought he would play well. The way he played last week, I thought he would bounce back from those 4 interceptions. And when it turned against him, they just never turned it back.
That actually puts him over 300 yards.
Well, you know, when this game is over, you know it and I know it, the focus is going on him. And any quarterback that's played for a period of time in the NFL, you understand it. You've got to take it, put your head down, go back to work, try to correct it next year.
Going to the end zone for Green, and that's tipped away. Unfortunate that it's not a third interception. Weddle was the one who deflected it.
And how about the first-year coach, Mike McCoy, to come in to assemble a staff, and you think it's a team. What did I say to him last night? I said, man, Mike, I watched all your preseason games. He goes, yeah, we were pretty bad, but I didn't play all my guys. And, you know, of course, I followed that trap. I overjudged preseason games. He just wanted to get to that first game healthy. He did it. What a job.
Underneath. And it's Gresham for 8.
And maybe more than anything, when you talk about the Chargers, it's the resurrection. I don't want to say, well, is that a good word for Phillip Rivers? A new coach, a new system, and they put all the focus on him, and he can sure handle it.
Dalton, his receiver fell down, and again, he's almost intercepted. Now you talk about McCoy. He's been the head coach for not quite 51 weeks. And he tried to come in and completely change the culture. I mean, he even talked about how things were going to be different, even starting at the top. Even talking about the way everybody in the building operated from the owner on down, Dean Spanos.
He said everybody needs to realize, owners, general manager, coaches, it's all about helping the players. They got that straightened out, and they did a good job.
They pick up the first down on 4th down to Hawkins, and we're down to 50 seconds to go. And a spike, and McCoy will be going back to Denver. I know how much that means to him to go back, as he told us last night, to have a chance to go back to Denver, where he had been the offensive coordinator. He did really some wonderful things there. He had, of course, the Tebow year where he had to tailor-make, customize the offense to his strengths, and then back that up with Peyton Manning coming in.
Yeah, how about that switch?
Got so many friends back on that Denver staff and team. He's looking forward to it. 2nd and 10. And Jones hurdles to about the 7. And the Bengals, who have been blanked in the second half, may have a garbage time touchdown before it's all done. They won that last meeting in Denver. They played 108 times, but never in a playoff game. We saw the first meeting in November down in San Diego. That was a 28-20 Denver win, and a big second half performance and comeback attempt by the Chargers.
Well, they got into playoffs. They're healthy. They're on a roll. That's good stuff.
Dalton just throws it away, and we have 14 seconds remaining. Hey, that last meeting on week 15. Allen took it home. Rivers threw a couple of touchdown passes. Matthews had 127 on the ground. And again, they handed the Broncos their first home loss, only home loss of the season.
Well, the two big things in this game. Healthy players on the defensive side for the San Diego Chargers. Their offensive line being healthy. Both were key figures in the victory here.
Dalton again underneath. Bernard. And that'll probably end it. They won't even attempt to get another playoff. The game is over. Rivers leads the Chargers to the road victory. They come back from a 10-7 halftime deficit and outscore the Bengals 20-0 in the second half. So the AFC brackets now are all set for divisional weekend. Saturday night, the Colts and the Patriots. Boy, they have a lot of postseason history. This time it'll be luck against Brady, and we'll have it for you on CBS. Greg Gumbel and Dan Deerdorf will be there. Dan's final broadcast call. And we send along our very best to our great teammate. And then we'll be in Denver for San Diego and the Broncos. The final score is San Diego 27 and Cincinnati 10. Coming up next, the Subway Post-Game Show. For Phil Simms and Tracy Wolfson, Jim Nantz saying so long from Cincinnati. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, and we'll join James Brown in New York after this.